Transit YouTube has an AI problem. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, you'll find out how deep and destructive of a problem it is. I'll also give some advice in this video for how you can play your role in addressing it. This AI problem involves two transit YouTube channels, both of which make pretty much the same content. Or perhaps a better way of putting it is that the content is made for them by AI. These two channels are Great Train Speed and On the Trains. Banks Rail News, a real human being who I am subscribed to, did a whole video on these two channels, so I'm not going to cover everything he did. But there are some things with these two channels that I do want to cover. The first thing I should note is that there is written proof from the channels themselves that they use AI. I must say that it wasn't such a wise idea on these two channels' parts to so openly admit to their AI usage, given how controversial it is. But also, since both channels admitted to AI usage, it means that what I'm saying here is factual. I don't have to do any investigative digging to find this out when they are so clear, with their own words, about their use of AI. So, now that we have established, from the channels themselves, that they use AI, you might be wondering, well, if this is AI junk, why are they so successful with so many subscribers? I think that at least part of the answer is that they know how to have their channels respond to YouTube's algorithm. They do three things which are good for their chances of getting their videos spread by the algorithm. First, they post regularly. Second, they make good thumbnails. And third, they make interesting titles. Their content may suck, but unless you know their content sucks, these three things, all of which they do, are almost certainly enough to lure in new views and new subscribers. In fact, the use of AI is how both channels are able to post so regularly. And this is not just me saying this. This is what the channels themselves say. In the case of Great Train Speed in particular, once a day, it seems like. That's just impossible for human beings to compete against, as so many of us have school and or work and or life. Banks Rail either is going or did go to school in addition to the whole YouTube thing. Classy Whale did actual research that culminated in a PhD in addition to his YouTube channel. Kill does his research. I'm almost certain that Nandert once mentioned in passing that he's a dad in addition to making his informative LA area transit videos. Content creators like these and others would get more views, more subscribers, and therefore more ad revenue from YouTube if this AI garbage from Great Train Speed and On the Trains weren't taking up some of the oxygen from these legit transit YouTubers. This is part of why I say that transit YouTube has an AI problem. Oh, and for the love of transit YouTube, please follow people like the ones I mentioned, not Great Train Speed and On the Trains. There is another thing that also bothers me about these two channels. That something else is their reliance on AI at a time that we're now realizing that AI does tons of damage to the environment, which just directly contradicts so much of what the transit YouTube space is about, which is advocating for a healthier planet through advocating for better mass transit. There is a growing body of evidence that AI consumes tons of energy and tons of water. It's so bad that whole regions of the United States could face depleted water supplies. We literally cannot survive without water. And this is exactly what AI uses a ton of. AI that is used by great train speed and on the trains. On the topic of great train speed in the environment, it's rather ironic that their channel description says, quote, "Go train and environmental friendly transit," end quote. Apparently, their care for the environment does not extend to care for water, our most precious resource as a human race. Because if it did extend to water, then their channel wouldn't basically be an AI machine. Now that I've spent plenty of time saying negative things about the AI garbage that these two channels produce, let's talk about what we, as consumers of transit YouTube, should and should not do to address this problem. First and foremost, I am begging people, please do not leave comments on their channels saying some version of "stop using AI." I'm saying this as someone who has made this mistake once. And I'm saying this because it may be tempting for others to make this mistake. I'm saying this for two reasons. First, because they're not listening, as they're continuing to use AI anyway. As such, we're just wasting our time and energy by going to their videos and making comments being critical of their AI usage. And second, leaving comments is actually the worst thing to do if you don't want these channels to succeed. Here's why. The YouTube algorithm loves videos with lots of viewer engagement. It doesn't matter if the engagement is positive, mixed, or negative. The engagement itself, in the form of video comments, results in a video being pushed out to more people. I know this is from experience because the video that had the most negative comments on my channel is also my most viewed video as of the time of my writing the script. So, if a ton of people comment on their video saying "AI slop," you're unintentionally helping these two channels. It's not something you're likely to know unless you're a YouTube creator, which is why I'm giving this advice. Second, instead of leaving comments, just simply unsubscribe from these channels. To take the momentum out of these two channels, we need to have fewer eyeballs on them, and a mass unsubscription from these channels is one way to accomplish this. Third, if one of these channels' videos get recommended to you, don't click on it, no matter how attractive the title sounds, and no matter how interesting the thumbnail looks. If you don't click on the video, it'll contribute to the video having a lower click through rate, which is the rate at which someone clicks a video they see on the YouTube website. And, speaking from experience, the lower the click through rate, the less likely YouTube is to push a video to more people. Last, instead of subscribing to the AI slop that is great train speed and on the trains, consider subscribing to other channels that are run by human beings. I listed a few earlier, and as a response to my doing this negative video, I do hope to have a video in the next couple of months where I highlight some of my favorite transit YouTubers. Because, for all my focus on these two lousy YouTubers, there are a lot of great ones in the transit space, all of whom bring with them their own personality and their own perspective. And I want to spend at least as much time and energy highlighting these great YouTubers in a future video as I have talking about these two lousy ones in this video. My goal is for these good YouTubers to be pushed by the YouTube algorithm, instead of the AI slop from Great Train Speed and On the Trains. And, instead of subscribing to these AI channels, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to me as well. I can't promise that you'll always agree with me, but I do promise that it's a real human being making this content. For more content not made with AI, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more content on imagining better mass transit in the United States. Make sure to leave a like as well. That might help push this man-made content over the AI content I just spent a whole video talking about. Thank you, and have a good day.